Hello, Chillify. I'm ready to bring your stories to life. Aunt Lily was adamant, convinced that her ordinary-looking cousin would become a famous child star. She even wanted to help her drop out of school and borrow money to secure a leading role for her. With good intentions, I warned her that this was one of the most common scams targeting child stars today. I finally managed to persuade Aunt Lily to let my cousin focus on her studies. To my surprise, when my cousin grew up, she still plunged headfirst into the entertainment industry. But due to her lack of experience, she was constantly rejected. Aunt Lily lamented to her, "If your cousin hadn't been so jealous of you, you'd already be a child star with a head start. Why would you be struggling like this now? It's a shame your future was ruined by her." My cousin, harboring resentment, sought to exploit my trust, luring me to the house of a director with unusual predilections. As a result, I was tormented to death. My intimate photos spread everywhere, while my cousin stepped over my blood and flesh to become famous overnight, overjoyed. After being reborn, I had an epiphany. With such beauty, wouldn't it be a waste not to enter the entertainment industry? Aunt Lily's investment was truly worth it. Aunt Lily's family, the Taos, loved posting photos of her daughter, Clara, on social media, often with captions like, "Am I just too obsessed with my daughter? I just feel like she'd make a perfect child star." Without exception, the comments below these posts were all critical of Clara's appearance. Yet, Aunt Lily continued to post until she received a private message. The sender claimed to be a casting director for an online drama, feeling Clara was perfect for the female lead in their new film. However, since Clara had no acting experience, her family would have to cover all acting expenses, totaling 500,000 yuan. The elders in the family advised them for days, arguing that no matter how talented a child was, they couldn't drop out of school for a film. They questioned whether this lead role was real or fake, and if it was worth Aunt Lily and her husband shouldering a 500,000 yuan debt. Aunt Lily adamantly insisted, "Our Clara has such a rosy, adorable face. She was born to be a star. A bold investment will surely bring back far more than 500,000 yuan. Don't you see how easily big stars make money these days? They earn millions in a single day." She turned to me. "Vivian, you're in the industry. You must understand better than them. Tell me, is my cousin's appearance any less than those celebrities?" Once again, I was pushed into the center of the conversation. I came from a reputable academy and had many friends who were child stars, so I knew very well that countless children entered the entertainment industry as child stars every day. Most of them faded into obscurity. To even momentarily surface like a bubble in a big wave was a rare stroke of luck. Even if they were in the public eye for 3 years, they would still face many challenges as adults. For example, their adult appearance might no longer appeal to audiences, or they might have dropped out of school so much that they couldn't even understand scripts and needed others to read every word to them. Not to mention the countless child stars now, pouring a fortune into it often only leaves a mundane line on their future resumes. Therefore, in my past life, I chose to tell Aunt Lily the truth. This is just a game for the rich, not suitable for ordinary families like ours. Dropping out of school for this is even more unwise. It would be better to wait until Clara grows up and lets her decide if she wants to pursue an artistic path. But I hadn't realized how ugly Aunt Lily's expression had become at that moment. In the end, the Taos gave up the idea of Clara dropping out of school. However, Clara's academic performance was unremarkable, and her personality was isolated. She didn't even have a single close friend at school. Later, Clara still decided to dive headfirst into the quagmire of the entertainment industry. Since it was her choice, I even helped introduce some suitable resources for newcomers. But directors all rejected her, citing lack of experience or no representative works. Clara cried all day. Much later, I learned that at the Tao household, they constantly replayed clips of my performances alongside scenes of the female lead from that year's film, the one who had become famous thanks to the role Clara missed, now living a glamorous life. "Look, this lead role should have been yours. If your cousin hadn't been so jealous and tried to stop you, you would be a child star now, not suffering like this. It's a shame your future was utterly ruined by her." From then on, Clara harbored resentment. Using the excuse of being upset after a failed audition, she called me to pick her up from a hotel. But when I arrived at the room, the one waiting for me was a notorious director in the industry, known for his perverse tastes and once suspected of causing an actress's death. I fled outside, covered in blood, clothes disheveled, begging Clara for help, but she just smiled mysteriously and pushed me off the rooftop. "Vivian, you ruined my future, so use your own life to pave the way for mine." At that time, I was already a somewhat known actress. Clara, as my relative, appeared on an interview, her overly plasticized face tear-stained as she cried like a pear blossom drenched in rain before the camera. "My sister Vivian is truly a good person. She just took a wrong turn temporarily. It's not what everyone thinks." With Clara's testimony, that director leisurely escaped punishment, while I was branded as someone who tried to use under-the-table rules, failed, and then desperately jumped off a building to commit suicide. This scandal made me a prime example of someone who got what they deserved in the entertainment industry. My sensitive photos spread across the internet. I found no peace even in death. Meanwhile, Clara became famous overnight as an insider, living a life of leisure, built upon my blood and flesh. So this time, I proactively met the expectant gaze of the Tao family. "Clara is so beautiful, wouldn't it be a waste not to enter the entertainment industry? Aunt Lily, this money is truly well spent." My words became the Tao's strongest trump card. "See, even a star says so. I told you, how can you old-fashioned folks understand this industry?" Anyway, I was very curious to see how far my good cousin's path to stardom would go in this life. The Tao family came to borrow money from me again. On the other end of the line, casting director Mr. Chen said over the phone, "We've received the money, but this character's costume needs to be custom-made. Plus, the acting training fees for child actors require another 50,000 yuan. Clara's mom, just transfer it to the old account." The call ended. The Taos bowed their heads, full of apprehension. "Vivian, you heard it too. That's the situation. Most of the money has already been spent. Surely you don't want your cousin to abandon her future over this 50,000 yuan, do you?" My mother put down her bowl and chopsticks, sitting next to me. "Vivian, you said Clara has talent in this field, so shouldn't you, as her sister, show some sincerity?" I just wanted to roll my eyes to the heavens. In my previous life, my mother also sided with the Taos, forcing me to lend money for Clara's tuition. They said if Clara became a child star and earned a lot of money, how could she possibly not have money for school? I kindly lent the money, but when I asked for it back, my mother sat on the ground, crying and wailing. "How can you do this to your own family? Have you no shame? What face do you have left? You want to make a big deal out of this." "Fine, then consider me indebted to Clara. That money is compensation for her. If you pressure me anymore, I'll die right here in front of you today." I could overlook the money, but I never expected that after my death, a young master from a wealthy family would come to buy my desecrated body. He couldn't hide his excitement, assuring my mother, "Just sell her body to me, and I guarantee I'll elevate Clara to an A-list star." My mother agreed. Wiping away tears, she signed, "Our family owes Clara too much. Vivian, it's a good thing you died. You still managed to help your cousin. Otherwise, I would never be able to repay this debt to your aunt." Looking back, it was truly laughable. She was the one indebted to the Tao family, not me. Clara tugged at my hand, whining, "Sister, please help me. I really want to be a big star. I promise I won't steal your spotlight. Don't worry, okay?" I gave a faint, gentle smile. "All right, wait while I go get the money." As soon as I finished speaking, I turned and walked into my room. Behind me, my mother's voice was full of confidence. "See, I told you Vivian has a conscience. Clara, don't worry, just wait for your sister to bring the money. She just got a film role a few days ago. The payment isn't small." In truth, my mother wasn't entirely foolish. She knew to keep some money for herself. Throughout the years, she used the money my father left for my education, along with the money I painstakingly earned from part-time jobs, to support the entire Tao family. So when I had a high fever of 39 degrees Celsius, I couldn't even afford a box of medicine. But she still had a private bank account, just in case. I pulled that card from under the pillow in her room and calmly handed it to the Tao family. "Aunt Lily, it's not much, just 70,000 yuan in total. Please take it all. The password is my mother's birthday." The moment she saw the familiar zodiac animal image on the bank card, my mother's smile suddenly froze, her face turning pale. "That, Clara, Aunt Lily?" She wanted to say something but swallowed her words. The Taos, fearing she might change her mind, paid no attention, only remembering my generous act. Vivian, you're still the most trustworthy, much better than your mother, just like your father. Your mother always claims she has no money, even stingy with her own niece. By the way, what's your sister's birthday? 2 months later, I was busy on a film set. During a lunch break, I met Clara again. She had also joined a film crew. She was short and chubby, wearing an ill-fitting, baggy costume that made her look like a child who had stolen adult clothes, completely revealing her plump figure. The Tao stood in front, taking photos of Clara from every angle. Not long after, my social media app constantly notified me of 39 new videos uploaded. The accompanying content was no different. My daughter's first time on set, playing the female lead. Some people are just born for art. Those antis who said she couldn't make it into entertainment, how do they feel now? Looking at my phone screen, I couldn't help but laugh. Did they really think the entertainment industry was that easy to enter? The Tao family approached me greeting, "Vivian, you're on set today too, but Aunt Lily heard you're only playing the third female lead. You're not young anymore. If this career isn't working out, find a stable job soon." Still the same attitude, praising the high, trampling the low. In my past life, I had used my connections to help Clara get a third female lead role, but the Tao family considered third leads to be washed-up actresses who couldn't get scripts. Guest roles made them roll their eyes in contempt. Perhaps this time it was for the best. I smiled gently. Aunt Lily is right. Spending money does have its benefits. Aunt Lily immediately beamed. Of course, I spent over 500,000 yuan, that's not a small amount. This time we absolutely must make Clara a big star, I chuckled faintly. Then we'll see. Finally, on the day the drama featuring Clara aired, I intentionally took a few days off and returned home to watch with my family, waiting for Clara's scenes. We watched from 4 p.m. until 2 a.m. the next day. I yawned and looked at Aunt Lily. "Aunt Lily, isn't it Clara's turn yet? What episode is this now?" She flipped to episode 14. Could it be that the female lead still hasn't appeared? If Clara is the female lead, then who has been with the male lead for the past 14 episodes? I skimmed through the drama's synopsis. It was a typical sweet Xianxia romance with abundant romantic plotlines. How could they give the female lead role to a 13-year-old child? The Tao family's expressions gradually turned unpleasant, anxiety clearly visible on their faces. Aunt Lily's husband, Mr. Tao, lost his temper and slapped her loudly across the face. "You said spending money could get a lead role, didn't you? Now what? Our house and car are all mortgaged. Our family was perfectly fine. Are you trying to destroy everything?" My mother rushed over to intervene. "Brother-in-law, don't get angry. Let Clara call her manager to find out what's going on." Mr. Tao violently pushed her away, sending my mother tumbling to the ground. Immediately, her left eye was bruised and blood flowed freely from both nostrils. She almost couldn't get up. But the sister he adored completely ignored my mother's injuries, only staring intently at her phone screen. Mr. Tao frantically sent a voice message to Mr. Chen. "Mr. Chen, what episode does my daughter appear in? Did we miss something? Why haven't we seen her by episode 14? The other party casually replied, "Episode 18. To help the Tao family see the truth, I fast-forwarded straight to episode 18. Finally, in the middle of the episode, Clara appeared. Earlier, the drama mentioned that the female lead was a spirit beast about to take human form, who loved light pink like a seashell from childhood. But Clara had inherited her father's dark, reddish skin tone. In the dark night scene, the pink fluorescent costume only highlighted her rough skin and sturdy build, making her look like a rock with a cloak in a tourist area. This scene was part of the male lead's flashback. The male lead, due to a misunderstanding, had a conflict with the female lead and awkwardly tried to explain. This was supposed to be a heartbreaking segment, but I genuinely couldn't help but burst out laughing. Due to her introverted and shy personality, Clara's expressions on screen were stiff as wood, and under close-up shots they appeared even more lifeless. The girl was both nervous and spoke unclearly. Don't explain anymore. You hurt my father. I can't forgive you. Please take Lord Nyan Shen and go. If my father sees you, he definitely won't forgive you. I secretly came out here to meet you. Can you please not make things difficult for me?" Clara's eyes were rubbed raw and red, but no tears fell. Combined with her lisping pronunciation of in her dialogue, it sounded exactly like a guava. I doubled over with laughter, slapping the sofa. Turning around, I realized all the relatives had been scared away because Mr. Tao was pinning Aunt Lily to the ground, beating her relentlessly. Acting, huh? I let you act. Don't you actually know what your daughter looks like? Now look what happened. Our house and car are all mortgaged. Now let's see how you'll pay off the debt. On the other end of the line, the casting director still responded in a high voice. Clara's mom, what's wrong with your daughter playing the young female lead? Why isn't that considered the female lead? Clara, her face covered in blood from the beating, still clutched her phone, suddenly beaming with joy. Husband, come quickly and see. My lips are trembling. Our daughter is famous. I pulled out my phone in surprise. Sure enough, director Luna, with whom I had worked a few times, had sent a video with a message. Vivian, check this out, haha. This video is really hot right now. If I were exposed with a scene like this, I'd definitely have to retire. Curious, I opened the video. To my surprise, it was a 3-minute clip from Clara's scene. It began with a chubby, expressionless girl angrily yelling, "Guava." I don't know which genius edited this scene into a hilarious video, mixing it with the serene music of Sub, making viewers cry tears of laughter. Curious, I opened the Tao family's social media account. As expected, the comments section was filled with criticisms. Is it that easy to get into shows these days? I feel like the money from the ads running past my eyes could buy a luxury apartment. If you don't like it, just curse it. No need to scroll past. Actually, I feel sorry for this girl. She's being pushed by her family to be a money-making tool. Can we all stop teasing her? No. I have to admit, while this girl doesn't look like a spirit beast, her big nose does have a certain air to it, no malice intended, but her eyes seem a bit crossed. If it's a health issue, she should see a doctor soon to correct it. Amidst countless malicious comments, the Tao family only responded with a single line. First, thank you for the anti-fans' curses towards our daughter, but she's perfectly healthy. Don't be excessively jealous of a child. These comments were undoubtedly a major blow. I could predict Clara would cry on camera, playing the victim, recounting how I had suppressed her acting talent, causing her to be attacked by netizens even later on. But I had no sympathy left. I thought after the Tao family witnessed the cruelty of public opinion firsthand, they might stop. But no, they were overjoyed to the point of crying, blood mixing with tears streaming down their faces as they excitedly shouted, "This is great. Our daughter is finally famous. All my hard work wasn't in vain, so what if it's Blackred fame, famous for being hated? Blackred is still famous. Our daughter has reached the peak right after her debut. With such talent, we don't have to worry about not turning haters into fans." Years passed in the blink of an eye. I signed a contract with Starlight Entertainment, the largest entertainment company in the industry. Thanks to the experience from 2 lifetimes, I could dedicate myself to honing my skills and refining my craft. I received countless awards, big and small. The president of Starlight Entertainment, Ethan Shen, a business genius with a keen eye, was also the one who discovered my talent. We had a fairly good personal relationship, so I used the money I had saved over the years to buy shares in the company. Now, I just had to count money until my hands got tired. 3 years later, news of Starlight Entertainment recruiting new actors topped the trending searches. After all, the company hadn't signed any rookies for years, and this time they even loosened the conditions, only considering personal ability. After interviewing the second-to-last contestant today, Ethan Shen excitedly shared with me, "Vivian, this girl seems to be related to you. I've watched her resume video. She appears very sincere. She said she's your cousin and hasn't seen you in years. Her reason for striving in this path is to one day act alongside you. If it weren't for her seemingly genuine attitude, with such a slow-burn disaster of a family background, no matter how much we loosen the conditions, she wouldn't have stood a chance in this interview round. Act together or compete." Curious, I opened Clara's file. Father imprisoned for domestic violence, mother deeply in debt, once jailed for fleeing debts. She herself had acted in some films over the years, but they were all such disasters that no one bothered to mention them. Aside from daring to accept bold intimate scenes, Clara was almost an unknown figure in the entertainment industry. She did have a few quality works, but she only played extras. Her role with the most dialogue had only 1 line. This made me a little expectant. Let's just watch for now. Clara was led into the interview room by a staff member. My first impression of her was that she was a stranger. Her once chubby face was now distorted from excessive plastic surgery. Under the strict control of the Tao family, the only thing of value she possessed, her health, had also been taken away. Her skin was dry and thin, withered, looking no different than a bleached skeleton. Her eyes, once ridiculed by netizens, were now cloudy and lifeless. She nervously performed a segment she chose herself. Although still a bit stiff, it was indeed a huge improvement compared to before. But it was still not enough to meet Starlight Entertainment's selection standards. Ethan Shen frowned. Next. Clara sobbed, wiping away tears. CEO Shen, what exactly is wrong with me? I don't think I'm inferior, I just need a chance. She cried like a pear blossom drenched in rain, her surgically altered face revealing a pathetic vulnerability that evoked pity. But at that moment, her eyes met mine. No matter how excellent an actress she was, she couldn't hide her true expression in this instant. She angrily questioned, "Vivian, are you deliberately causing trouble?" I earned this interview opportunity at Starlight by myself. Are you perhaps afraid I'll block your path, so you're using your status in the industry to make things difficult for me? A resilient, unyielding demeanor, typical of a pitiful White Lotus. I lazily replied, "That's for the best." Ethan Shen coldly interrupted. "Miss Clara, you know how you got here. This is a public place, so I'll preserve some dignity for you. But personally, whether it's your past works or your current condition, you don't meet Starlight's standards, especially with an education level that only includes graduating from elementary school." Clara's face stiffened and she clenched her fists. "It's just a slightly lower education. I don't think I'm inferior to Vivian. I'm younger than her and my potential for development is greater. I will use my future achievements to prove that Starlight's failure to sign me is a huge mistake." Ethan Shen leaned lazily on the sofa, then suddenly sat upright. "What is this? Does she want to suck more blood from us?" I opened my phone and found that today's hot topics were completely dominated by Clara. Not only that, she had deliberately tagged my name. #Vivian Clara Close Sisters, Clara's most admired person is her sister, Clara talented girl cutest sisters, sis is it really that hard to be independent in entertainment? Ethan Shen sneered. It seems the backing Clara found is worthless. She's only getting supporting roles in trashy TV dramas. I took the phone from him, frowning. Clara had announced her schedule in one breath, including many films of different genres. There was only one thing in common. All these films, after airing, would become blockbusters. But what delighted me the most was that Clara had confirmed she would participate with me in the 7th season of the acting competition show, Artistry. I burst out laughing. Director Zhu just told me the other day that this season's show would have a new face specially admitted. So it's her. Clara wants to go head-to-head with me. I'm afraid she's picked the wrong venue. With the backing of the capitalists, Clara painstakingly overcame each difficult round, struggling her way into the finals, and I finally had the chance to witness her acting skills firsthand. My purpose in joining this show was not to compete, but to create opportunities for the young actors of my company to test their abilities. In the third-to-last episode, I appeared as a special guest, allowing contestants to choose me as an opponent. If they defeated me, they would automatically advance to the finals. If they lost, they would be immediately eliminated. However, this was just a prearranged script. After all, it was a show meant to promote rookies, so these confrontations were just gimmicks to attract viewers. Contestants would politely praise me a few times, then feign pressure when facing me, and subsequently choose to compete against others. I would complete my role and could continue to the next set. My gaze stopped on Clara. She confidently began, "As someone who started from nothing with no backing, reaching where I am today is something to be proud of. I hope that in the future I can still rely on my own strength to reach the pinnacle." The host asked, "So Clara, who do you intend to challenge?" She subtly glanced at me, flashing a meaningful smile. I always hated it when people denied my efforts. Everyone thinks I got to where I am today because of my cousin's halo. I want to challenge Vivian to prove that I am no less capable than her. I also hope that from now on, people will no longer associate me with her. The host was stunned, repeatedly looking down at the cue cards in his hand to confirm he hadn't misremembered the procedure. He forced a smile. "Clara, are you sure? Many contestants have said that facing Vivian is too much pressure. You can still change your mind now." To increase appeal, the show had switched from pre-recorded broadcasting to live, unedited streaming. The host kept blinking, hoping Clara would understand his hint, but she avoided his gaze and firmly nodded. "I'm very sure." The host was helpless. "All right then, Let's invite Vivian to the stage. This round has a special rule. Contestants are allowed to choose an unannounced script, then, based on what they already know, continue the story. Finally, the judges will compare it to the original script to evaluate who performed closest. Since I was filming several projects related to this script, for fairness, I yielded the right to choose first to Clara. She chose the script Orchid Pavilion, the story of a princess forced to sacrifice herself for her country in ancient melody. Ironically, in my past life, I had also performed this very scene. It was thanks to that segment that I was chosen by the director of Ancient Melody for the lead role of Princess Orchid. Clara glanced at me with a challenging look, chuckling faintly. "Vivian, I'm worried I'll be influenced by your acting style, so I'll go first, all right?" I calmly nodded. "As you wish." The show allotted 30 minutes for each group to prepare the script and do a short rehearsal, but I felt this time passed even faster than expected. Clara was the first to take the stage. "Stop right now, don't touch me." She was dressed in powerful labor clothes, forcefully pushing aside two actresses playing palace maids, then turned, her eyes welling up with tears as she looked into the camera. "Why must I die for this country? Why do our people not have the right to live? I don't want to, I don't." I don't. As soon as the dialogue rang out, the live comments exploded. "I told you, Clara isn't just a capitalist's puppet, she really has talent." Honestly, Clara's delivery of these two lines was quite good. Only, weren't these my lines from my past life? "Princess, please don't make things difficult for us servants." The actress playing the palace maid took a white silk ribbon and gently tightened it around Clara's neck. She struggled fiercely but couldn't escape. Finally, she cried miserably, despairingly, a single tear falling. "All right, if this is my fate, Father Emperor, if sacrificing me can preserve the empire, then I accept." The stage lights went out, then came back on. The audience erupted in continuous applause, enthusiastically discussing Clara's explosive performance. Except for one group of people, those who provided the script for the show, Ancient Melody, director Wu, who stared at Clara with a solemn gaze. Clara smiled gently, walked off the stage, and brushed past me, whispering, "Sister, even if the content is similar, you have to be careful. Don't act exactly like me, okay? But I just watched your rehearsal. I guess it's too late to change now, isn't it?" She was right. Even if I could improvise on stage, what about my co-actors? If even one line couldn't be followed, the entire performance would become a farce, turning me into a stepping stone for Clara. I walked onto the stage alone. The contestants who were supposed to act with me calmly returned to their seats, as if they had long known about this arrangement, showing no surprise. I knelt on one knee, dragging a long sword across the stage. In any position, one must fulfill their duty. I am the eldest princess of Qin, raised by countless citizens. If I can bring peace between two warring nations, what is one life worth? I bowed 3 times towards the invisible royal family. The scent of war smoke seemed to truly permeate the space. Would the most favored eldest princess truly abandon everything to sever her ties with this mortal world? Before, I had never fully understood the character of Princess Orchid. She wouldn't cry tragically. Instead, if she had to die, she would choose a death befitting her status. When director Wu unveiled the script and offered his comments, and the original script appeared on the big screen, Clara froze. How could this be? The Princess Orchid I played was clearly the right one. How could she just say she'd die for those commoners? It seemed she had gotten so immersed in the role that she blurted out, "commoners," which also meant the official end of her career path. Director Wu pushed up his glasses and slowly said, "Clara's version of Princess Orchid was indeed very close to my initial idea, but after discussing with Vivian, I changed some details in the script. I am very certain that Vivian is the Princess Orchid I envisioned. So, may I ask Clara one question? Why do you think you understand this character better than I, its creator? Don't you feel a little presumptuous?" That night, Clara once again topped the hot searches, but I didn't care. To join the Ancient Melody film crew on time, I had voluntarily withdrawn from the competition after securing my spot in the finals. However, thanks to the role of Princess Orchid, I still received a Best Actress nomination. Perhaps due to Ethan Shen's cruel sense of humor, I was the one announcing the award this year. I held the award envelope from the staff, preparing to read the results, when suddenly Clara's crying voice rang out from behind the large screen. The stage's live broadcast switched to a rooftop of a building. Clara, her eyes red, choked out, I don't know what I did wrong. As a self-taught actress, am I forever unable to fight against capital? Vivian, I have nothing left to live for, but I will expose the darkness of the entertainment industry. I will also expose your hypocrisy. I was suppressed by you. I was bullied by you. Immediately, hashtags related to bullying appeared on the hot searches. Vivian the bully actress hashed the truth about Vivian's power in entertainment. Clara forced to suicide. Social media exploded. Clara wailed, Vivian, do you dare tell everyone how you rose to power? Do you truly have a clean path? I'm about to die. I have nothing left to lose. That year, when I was only 12, you pushed me into the bed of a big director, exchanging me for your breakthrough film. I was tormented to the point of madness. All I wanted was a film of my own, yet you tried to stop me from joining Starlight. With her pitiful face and tragic story, combined with her ability to manipulate public opinion, everything seemed to become true within minutes. Social media was flooded with attacks against me. The organizers were forced to cancel the live broadcast. A staff member stepped onto the stage and softly asked me, Vivian, would you like to step down and rest for a bit? I calmly replied, perhaps, but wait a moment. If someone enjoys exploiting public opinion like this, then let me help her boost her popularity a little more. Immediately after, the screen behind me changed, displaying a series of Clara's intimate photos. From the stage speakers, her whining voice rang out, Uncle Liang, aren't I prettier than your old wife? What does Vivian have that I don't? Just help me crush her, and I'll do anything you want. I don't know what she's pretending to be so pure about. I don't believe she didn't sleep with men to get to where she is now. I'm going to ruin her awards ceremony. All I have to do is cry and pretend to commit suicide, and those fools online will easily be provoked, haha. Under my guidance, the netizens who had once mocked me quickly dug up a series of Clara's scandals. For instance, she was the scandal queen from years ago, specializing in digging up others' private lives to gain attention. Her family had even swindled relatives' life savings just to fuel Clara's dream of stardom. After gaining fame, the first thing she did was take revenge on those who said she had crossed eyes, organizing a cyberbullying campaign against them. Finally, when the police arrived at her house to investigate the defamation charges, Clara, in a panic, slipped and fell from a high floor. From then on, Clara could only live a vegetative life in a hospital bed, disfigured with full-body fractures, losing control of her body, every second of every minute spent in agonizing pain. I arranged for her to share a hospital room with my mother. That old woman was now half paralyzed, but still a bit luckier than Clara. That year, my mother was beaten by Mr. Tao to the point of a traumatic brain injury. If she had sought timely treatment, she might have been fine, but she stubbornly refused to accept compensation from the Tao family, insisting she had no problems and lay at home for days. By the time she was admitted to the hospital, it was too late to save her. By the hospital bed, my mother cried over Clara's tragedy, sobbing, Mom, I'm sorry for Clara. Both of her children have been tragically harmed by our family. She turned her eyes to me, her voice choked with reproach. Vivian, you're so cruel. They just cursed you a few times. Why do you have to be so petty? I burst out laughing. That year, when my father died, the Tao family kindly helped my mother with the funeral arrangements. But as a result, Aunt Lily suffered a miscarriage due to exhaustion. From then on, my mother always felt indebted to them. But I had investigated the truth. I looked down, staring at the foolish woman in front of me, speaking each word clearly. Mother, you truly are incurably foolish. Did you ever wonder how father died? Mr. Tao killed him to steal money to pay off his debts. If he hadn't come to help you, how could he have gotten rid of the evidence? As for the miscarriage, that was his karma. My mother suddenly froze, clutching her head with both hands, tears streaming down like a waterfall. She cried until she fainted. From that day on, she was officially fully paralyzed. Meanwhile, the Tao family fared no better. Clara was convicted of defamation, and her family had partly abetted her. I received a series of crumpled, tear-stained letters from prison, filled with remorse. They begged for my forgiveness. Vivian, we shouldn't have dreamt of Clara becoming a star. Only now do we realize that living an ordinary life is the best. Life here is worse than death. Please, I beg you, help me pull some strings. I want to get out, I scoffed. I didn't know helping someone evade justice was a crime. Who do you think would dare help you? 3 years later, one day, a nurse called me. Miss Vivian, something's wrong. A cleaner at the hospital suddenly went crazy and pulled out Clara's breathing tube. I was summoned to the police station. The surveillance video repeatedly showed Mr. Tao, Aunt Lily's husband, storming into the hospital room, screaming wildly, "It's all your fault. Everything's your fault. You ruined my entire life. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be living a life worse than a dog or a pig." From that day on, he was back in prison. In my free time between shoots, I studied photography. I took some photos that satisfied me. The road ahead was still very long. I had to enjoy the different experiences this life offered to be worthy of the chance to live again.